Well, rumour has it that before Patrick W. Reed was invented, wrestling matches never actually came to a conclusion.
I am your referee, Patrick W. Reed.
The greatest referee of all time.
I mean, to say the man was a legend would be kind of underselling him a bit. What's bigger than a legend? Good question. Patrick?
Yeah. Let me just warm up the old vocal cords. That's right, yeah.
I mean, it's undeniable that he changed the way referees work. He invented so much that is now just commonplace in the world of refereeing.
Patrick W. Reed was a great referee. Aubrey couldn't lace his 3 count.
Patrick was the creme de la creme, really, of all refs I've ever encountered. I've not encountered many, actually, to be fair. But, you know, out of the 3 referees I've ever met, he was the best.
Patrick was the best at all the referee bits. Count to 3, count to 5, ring the bell.
Stevie, are you ready? Yes. Come on, bring it together, ring the bell. Ring the bell. Ring the bell. Ring the bell. Ring the bell.
Patrick W. Reed. They created the word legend specifically for him. There's that one wrestler, that one great from years ago that used to say, "I'm the best there was. I'm the best there ever will be. I'm the best that there is." When he said that, he was talking about Patrick W. Reed.
Patrick revolutionized tag team wrestling with 4 simple words. 1 in, 1 out. See, before that, tag teams were just all over the place. It was a mess. Guys were getting injured. You know, you had your ladder matches and everyone was climbing up at once. Patrick changed it. 1 in, 1 out.
Almost single-handedly defined what it was to shout numbers at a man in a ring.
Before him, the referees was banging their head off the canvas to count to 3. They're going 1, 2, 3, like that. But he decided to use his hand. What a genius!
He has a very, very clear cut mind when he's in the ring. When he's in the ring, he's very narrow focus. He's only thinking of those numbers. And I'm of course referring to the numbers 1 to 3, and of course their cousins 1 to 5 and 1 to 10.
It was so good that after a while they actually stopped using the terms ref and referee altogether in wrestling. And they just referred to that role as a Patrick.
He'll have it here, Patrick here.
There was a song, wasn't there, that was made about Patrick. Yeah, I think it was, you know, it was doing rounds, it was like a football chant almost. And I remember it was like, Patrick Reed, what you gonna do now, Patrick Reed, Patrick Reed.
Patrick Reed, what you gonna do now, Patrick Reed? Patrick Reed, Patrick Reed, what you gonna do now, Patrick Reed?
It wound him up something silly.
Patrick, why don't you give all these beautiful people a nice big yeehaw?
Yeehaw.
So the invention of the VCR changed Patrick W. Reed for the better, I think. He spent all the fortune he had amassed over the years and bought wrestling tapes from all over the world. Japan, Mexico, the US, the UK, Madagascar. And then got quite badly addicted to caffeine pills and stayed up and just watched all the tapes. We didn't see him for about a month.
Well, he's a proper student of the game. You know, he's the only man I know that has watched more minutes of wrestling than minutes he's been alive. And you might say to me, Cleveland, how's that possible? And I'd say to you, multiple screens.
A different match playing on every screen. It's like some lunatic watching CCTV of men grappling one another.
To get through more footage, he would often watch it in fast forward. And then imitating that led to his erratic behaviour in the ring.
You went and got his hand sanded down, like every finger, in a carpenter's workshop. So if you ever look at his hands, you'll see there's no calluses, no fingerprints on his right hand. Make of that what you will. And it's smooth as a baby's bottom. So that means, down to the millisecond, his 3 counts are more accurate than anyone else's.
He's a high-class, sophisticated man. He's not like these other bozos who are right in there, getting involved doing things. No, he's just standing on the side, leaning there, leaning on the ropes. He knew it was all under control.
When he came back from the Nick Patrick conference, he had all these new ideas. He told us about the Union Jack. The referee should stand in a certain place. He was like, lads, the red line is mine, and the rest of the space is for you guys. So you knew if you're wrestling, you couldn't whip someone into the corner because Patrick was fully standing. You knew that you couldn't throw someone against the ropes because Patrick would be there. And it just, once everyone got used to his ways, it cleared everything up and the matches were superb.
He was just always in the way.
When I came to see IWW, everybody said the referee, Patrick W. Reed, was superb. But I don't think so. Not from what I see.
I mean, was he a good referee?
Patrice. You know how I feel about Patrice. He was l'Empire terrible. It is an easy job, child's play. Somehow, he make it look hard. As a man, he was even worse. Despicable. Je déteste.
Not many people know that me and Patrick are actually quite close, and there was one moment in a match where he really had my back and he didn't want to count to 3. He got 1, 2, and he looked me in the eyes and said, "Is this it?" And I said, "Yes!" And then he did the 1, 2, 3 again. He really looked out for me that day. He didn't want me to lose, but he's a pro.
I'll tell you what he's not too fond of, thinking back. Doing a 10 count when you're out the ring. The amount of times I've been watching a match, and there's people doing all kinds of things outside of the ring, and he's there complaining out, "Oh, come on, get in the ring. Guys, come on, get in the ring. Do your count, mate."
Yeah, maybe he wasn't great actually. I mean, I was in a lot of tag matches and always used to miss our tags. But the other teams, he would just seem to let them get away with it. You know, for us, he had to see it. For them guys, it kind of was okay if he just said so. I never got that.
How can a slipper be considered an illegal weapon when you put it on your man instead your Pierre? Furthermore, it is an absurdity, a crudité. The action of an incompetent imbecile who I would not even give the crusty end of a baguette.
Bastian El Guaper.
Patrick will sit you down and he will say to you, one of the most important things about being a ref is effectively not being noticed, right? If you're not noticed in a match as a ref, he will tell you that's a good thing. But Patrick W. Reed, if you have a look at him, is very keen on being noticed. When you're doing your moves, he's all whoa and doing like, flailing his arms around like a little girl. But also, he dresses very sexily, right? Yeah, he's not dumb. He knows what's going to happen after the show's finished. The dressing room door.
Is Patrick in there?
Yeah.
No, come to think of it, the man was rather shit at what he did, wasn't he? Yeah. All the legendary status thing, I think that was just hype.
No, I didn't bring my maracas. Was I supposed to? You didn't say you wanted a performance. You just wanted to talk to me. What is this?
If there's ever a move you need to know, ask Patrick. He knows the names for all the moves. If you want to call a match on the fly, just say to him, hey Patrick, what's that next move on your list? What made you pick him up? And he'll tell you what it is, but then he can also do it in Japanese. But he says it in Japanese, but he also does this really funny accent with it too. So he does the Japanese accent, and he starts doing the thing, where you sort of pull your eyes. Oh, it's brilliant. Oh, you need to ask him to see that one day.
Patrick, he never liked me. He did not like anybody who was not from Jersey.
Was he racist? Don't knock that the Coco beware.
You won't go to France. Oh, I wouldn't have stopped asking.
People ask if I have regrets. Non. Je ne regrette rien. Maybe. Just one thing. I did not fulfill my dream of becoming a champion. Even mediocre wrestlers like Monsieur Dirty Suit have been the champion. But not moi. Pourquoi? The answer to this conundrum is simple. Patrice.
So Patrick as well, he had respect. And he didn't earn his respect, he intimidated for it. If you went into the Pearson and you saw him sitting there on his own at the bar, you knew not to mess with him. You don't even want to talk to him. No one would. Everyone was terrified of Patrick. Because the stories were real.
I mean, he really was a hard man. I mean, I remember once he told me mid-match to go home, so I did. I got up, walked out the ring, walked out the venue, and didn't even get my stuff. I mean, it was highly embarrassing. It was the first match of the night.
There isn't a human, a creature, an alien alive that is more intimidating than Patrick W. Reed. I was there the day that little boy fell into the lion's den at the Jersey Zoo. I watched Patrick jump over the fence, just a single leap right over the fence and into the lion's den to save that child. And when that child and him was swarmed by all the lines, I watched Reed look at them all in the eyes, staring them all down one by one. And he breathed in nice and big, and he grabbed his shirt and he ripped it in half, exposing this luscious, elegant chest hair and just sweat glistening off of the most ferociously manly body. Like, I remember to this day, I have goosebumps thinking about how manly Patrick looked. But I watched him rip that shirt in half, and I saw each one of those lines shed a tear and back down. And he picked that kid up with one arm, and he just single bound leaped right back over that fence. I've never seen a more intimidating man in my life.
I heard a lot of rumours about Patrick. I don't know the man socially. I won't be seen with him in public, but he is quite the drinker.
Yeah, he obviously wasn't like physically strong, but it was the sheer violence at which he was willing to wield inanimate objects that really made him dangerous. Yeah, between you and me, that spaghetti incident between Patrick and Eric Espartado, pretty sure that's the reason why we haven't seen Eric for a whole decade or whatever it's been. Yeah, I mean, Eric was a scoundrel, but he was never the same after that.
A friend of mine's cousin was at the pub, and he told me the story about how Patrick once got in a fight with someone and he left. Then he came back with a squeegee and attacked the man. Now I know these are real. You know, these aren't just made up stories. My friend told me his cousin's story.
I see him cheating in the wrestling ring. I see him cheating with the ladies on the outside. I see him cheating all the time.
He would tell me all the stories of the wrestling, but only women's matches.
Well, a little known fact about Patrick W. Reed involving myself is that my gimmick is actually inspired by the man and legend, Patrick, and his penchant for mummies.
Statistically now, since doing this 10 years, at least 70% of those children in the audience must be his.
I've known him for years, and the first time I met him, me and my mum, we came to watch one of the shows, and he got speaking to my mum, and after the show he came up to Liverpool, and I remember a great time. We were at the docks, me, my mum and Patrick, having a lovely ice cream together, and he was just a great guy.
I mean, say what you want about him being gangly and tubby in the later years. In the early years, Patrick W. Reed was a stud. Like, the ladies loved him. He'd be signing people's breasts after the show. We were all there signing kids' heads. Patrick on the boobs.
I could tell you some stories about him. I really, really could. Some of the things we've got up to when we've been a bit, you know.
Yes, the nude modelling that he does. I mean, I've never been on any of those night classes, but yeah, certainly raised a few eyebrows from what I understand. I mean, let's cut to the chase. The man is hung like a shy horse.
Patrick has a lovely big sausage, but not as lovely and big as Todd Hector.
Incredibly small feet. Or shoe.
Sometimes in the locker room, he would strip off from the waist down, run around, ghoulies flapping in the wind, and he would deliver these beautiful monologues from Les Miserables.
Yeah, we could.
What is a Patrick W. Reed, huh? Is it a smell? A feeling? A state of the mind? A state of the kitchen floor after one too many snake bites?
He doesn't talk about it often, but if you get him very drunk, he'll mention his ex-wives.
What a bastard. No, but the ladies loved him.
You must be one of the mummies! Looking to get a classy rig tonight, right? You're in the wrong place, love. This is where the men do the fighting. I'll tell you what, wait around to the end of the show, and maybe we'll get a bite to eat and maybe something more. Hey, Patrick, I think this young lady's lost. Show her back to her seat and get out my opponents. This is your opponent, Greg. This is Tiny Lovelace. What?
Now, I've hypnotized my fair share of performers, but nothing could have prepared me for the night that I hypnotized Patrick W. Reed. How could I have known that he was a master of the Aboriginal Jersey mating dance known as the Dance of the Devil's Hole? What happened that night, you wouldn't believe it unless you were there. Women standing on their chairs, screaming about their fertility. Men dripping in sweat like they've just finished watching the entire Fast and Furious saga. What a night. I'll never forget it.
You know, people always talk about in the back, like, what did the W stand for? I knew exactly what the W stand for.
Well, it was my understanding that the W stood for referee.
I always thought it stood for 1, 2, 3.
What does the W stand for? Do you know what? I've known him all these years. Never got a straight answer out of it.
From what I understand, he doesn't even have a middle name. He adds that to look professional.
Do you know what the W in Patrick's W red stand for? It is, how do you say in English? Wanker.
The W? Easy one, that. Wristwatch. Or wristler. Which is the wrestling one? It's wristwatch, isn't it? Yeah, because I remember Patrick told me it's wristwatch because you hold them like you're holding a watch and no one wears a lock on their wrist. Wristwatch.
I heard that when Patrick was living in London, Soho, in the 70s, and he was part of punk rock art movement, but was still refereeing all over the world, travelled a lot, and would inspire the question of where's Patrick? Where's Patrick? Every time anyone came by the collective, where's Patrick? So one of the artists there took to drawing pictures of where's Patrick, jet setting around the world. Patrick was gone for so long. By the time he came back, there was enough art to fill a whole book. The guy had a publishing deal, but Patrick didn't want focus to be drawn from his refereeing, so changes had to be made. So the black and white stripes of Patrick's attire was switched to red and white stripes. They added a hat, I think. But as an homage to his friend, he changed the name from Patrick to Patrick's middle name, Wally.
I have never met this man. I've never met him.
I beat him up. Oui. He deserves it. Oui. I enjoy. Oui. Then I don't know what happened. I fell asleep. When I woke up, he was gone. He vanished without trace. Poof. I have not seen him since. Coward. Patrice, one day you will be buttering your toast, feeding oiseaux sur les bras, making kissy sexy time with one of your empire friends, standing in line for a stupid signature for an obscure wrestler. Then, least expected, flip-flop, you taste my slipper again. Oui, the fromage has matured.
Saxy wrestling, saxy wrestling, saxy wrestling, saxy wrestling. I wrestle, 'cause I'm saxy, saxy wrestling, saxy
He's a proper legend of the match slams, but it's all gone. It's all gone wrong, hasn't it? Because he started getting too big for his boots. He started booking matches. He knows that's McMaster's job, and I know he knows because he's the kind of guy who reads all the rules. And now he's upset McMaster, and he made him challenge him, and look what happened.
If you don't win the belt tonight, if you don't win the Royal Rumble, you're fired!
I think the downfall for Patrick was bleeding his own way. When McMaster challenged him, he should have said no, he should have walked away. He's not a young man anymore. He's not the guy who sat in the Pearson and got into fights. He's someone else, he's the referee. He shouldn't be doing this, he shouldn't be making the matches. So when he kind of got what he deserved. But Patrick shouldn't have stepped in the ring. He was broken. He was a broken man, believing his hype.
He has a unique physique. When I first saw him, I thought he was a fold up beach chair. And I was like, you should not do the wrestle. You shouldn't even really do the ref.
You know, Patrick should have never got in the ring and fought. It's not his thing, you know. He'd be better off being the ring post. You know, I'm pretty sure they designed a ring post because of after looking at Patrick in the ring.
When I first met Patrick, he was so sickly thin that I thought he was 2D. I mean, what the hell was he doing fighting?
Humans, Patrick W. Reed's exact sort of specifications are rare. You know, they don't exist like that very often. You know, so thin, so tall. He's like a skyscraper, except entirely less ground.
I always told him he needed to eat more meat to thicken up, but he told me he was a vegetarian. And I told him, you know what? You need to eat more meat and thicken up. You know, you need to eat more meat.
Oh, what a catastrophe, my man.
I mean, he has no right being in a wrestling ring as a wrestler. He is nearing 90 years old. If you've only ever seen him in a CIW ring, then you've only ever seen him with 10 pounds of makeup.
I'll always be grateful for Patrick W. Reed for taking this young, bright-eyed boy out of the local bar scene and into the spotlight of professional wrestling. I wouldn't have been able to do it without you, Patrick W. Reed. So thank you.
We did not see eye to eye. And I'm quite pleased you have gone. I'll see you later. No, I won't. No. Good. Bye.
Yeah, I mean, the CIWW locker room is not going to be the same. I just offer a prayer and my thoughts to his wife, to his kids, of course, and to his mistress.
Without Patrick, how can we finish a match? How? Tell me, how are we going to finish a match? What's the fucking point anymore?
Thank you, Patrick, for all the counts, for all the beers, for all the laughter, for all the cheers.
At the end of the day, like, the NDA's caught up with them.
Hard to replace. Oh no, wait. Referees are a dime a dozen.
Patrick, it's been a pleasure working with you throughout these years. I hope you finally get to see your children. And I will see... Well, I'm not going to see you, let's be honest. I'm not going into any of the piss-poor establishments you frequent.
Rest in peace, my Chase. Au revoir, you stinky melt.
So, Mr. W. Reed, it was an honour to be Patricked by you, and I look forward to meeting the next Patrick, who I'm sure will not fill your boots.
Patrick W. Reed. A man, a ref, a pervert.